When I say I'm wrong, I imply moral judgment. It's like if you show up late, you say, I'm sorry. But, not necessarily, you're not necessarily wrong. But no, most of the time I told Karen I was wrong.
I drove around in my car. I made amends with people that I had offended, people that I thought I could never talk to again. I called them and I cried and I apologized.
Hi, I'm Laverne Tripp and welcome to Born to Be Free. In the last episode, I told you to make a list of all the people you had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Did you do it? If you did, stay with us, because this week you're going to hear what other people did. I remember when I was practicing in my addiction, I kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. My wife didn't want to hear that anymore. But when I said I was wrong, there was something happened. When I admitted what my problems were to someone else, something wonderful happened. And it will happen for you, and you're going to hear from people this week that it's happened for them. Well, if it's happened for us, it'll happen for you if you just do it. Stay tuned, because you were born to be free.
In dealing with people that we are approaching for forgiveness, how do you respond to their anger?
I think there are three things they need from us. If we are really interested in making restitution, they need to know first that we understand the severity of what we've done. I think they need to hear from us a recognition of the consequences of our behavior, the damage that it did to them. I think today we have become lousy at apologizing.
Yeah,
it's as if we can just wash away everything that happened with a simple, oh, I'm sorry. When you've really wounded someone, they need to hear that you know you wounded them, that you understand not just the thing you did, but the impact it had on them. So when I'm apologizing, for example, to someone who I've sinned against, I need to not only say, I did this thing, but I recognize it hurt you. It violated you. I have let you down. I've wounded you, and I see that. I think that's the first thing they need to see. But simultaneously, and it's not a contradiction, it's an addition, they need to understand that we're limited in our ability to understand how much we've hurt them. I think it's very healing to the person we've hurt to say, I'm not quite sure what you're going through, because I inflicted this pain on you. You didn't inflict it on me. So I'm not going to be arrogant enough to think I know exactly what you're going through. I've done something terrible to you, and it's caused you pain, and I would like to hear what it's like for you. I think we can do a lot of good in rebuilding a relationship by listening to the person express their pain over what we've done. And I think finally they need an expression of our own pain. I think when I apologize to someone, it's important to let them know how I feel about what I've done. I'm hurting over what I did to you. I'm hurting that our relationship is damaged. This matters to me. And I think if we can give them those three things, it makes it easier for them then to develop a trust in us, because I think you were making a crucial point. There really is, I think, a difference between forgiveness and trust. I think a person can decide to forgive us, but if they don't trust us, they can't just decide to trust. You either trust somebody or you don't. And I think one of the ways we enhance trust is when we let them know that we recognize the severity of what we've done, and as part of that, we're going to listen to their pain and their anger, and I think that's how trust starts to build again.
That's good.
Yeah, but on the other hand, a lot of people will not forgive us, and that's the price we pay for our addiction. Because some people they're just never going to forgive us. They hate us, and sometimes we're opening a can of worms. We need to consult with somebody more wiser than we are before we go and make amends to a certain person who we've hurt so bad. I mean, I've seen killings over this, seriously. Yeah. Because sometimes we tell people things they don't know. They don't even know about. Like, I'm sorry I borrowed that $20,000 from your safe. Evidently you didn't miss it, so I'm okay. And I think a lot of times, all of it's restitution, but it's atonement. I feel I got a lot of atoning to do. and making great efforts to do things like for my wife. You know, wash the dishes or vacuum, stuff that I know she wants me to do. And it may not seem like a big thing, but I know she appreciates it. So, you know, that's one way of atonement and restitution. And the truth is that sometimes we've shared things so bad we just can't go home again.
So I have a question.
Yes.
At what point do you dredge up things, or do you not dredge up something that somebody else doesn't know about? I mean, what's the defining line there?
Excellent point, Constance. The rule of thumb is accept when it would harm them or others. Hey, my peace of mind is not worth sacrificing somebody else's. And at that point, what you do is you commit it to the Lord, and you trust that He is going to A, work it out, or B, open up the opportunity where it is not going to be damaging for you to go in and make amends and a reconciliation there.
You know, just for example, a colleague of mine about a year ago finally confessed to me that for 10 years he had thought I was an absolute jerk. And he had resented me and disliked me, and every time he saw me, he was just repulsed by me. So he wanted to apologize. Well, thanks a lot. I didn't need to know that. Okay, it really damaged me hearing that, because even though he might have felt better admitting that, the fact was I was unaware of his thoughts, so he had not damaged me. But by putting that out on me, now every time I see him, I wonder, am I acting like a jerk now? What did I do? And it sort of sent me scrambling into my own insecurity. So I think the rule of thumb is it in their interest to hear this? Because if it isn't, I don't think we have the right to inflict that.
And I think it has to, it's rooted, Constance, in did I hurt that person?
Yeah. I think the willingness really is important for even those people you do not make amends to, if you've had a willingness to make amends.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm trained in research. You know, I have a PhD in counseling psychology. So I knew a pretty good bit about addiction per se, but knew absolutely nothing about gambling addiction. And from the very first time I pulled the handle on a slot machine, I loved it. In fact, that night, the very first time I played, they were trying to get me out of the place. I wanted to stay. I wanted to stay and keep playing. I just loved gambling. I loved playing slot machines. People would tell me, well, that's the worst odds you can play. I said, well, I know that, but I didn't have to think. You know, I decided all I had to do was put the money in and push the button. I didn't even pull the handle. You know, and it was quick, immediate feedback. Over the course of 3 years, I lost, I would say over $300,000. I had 17 credit cards maxed out. I had sold a car, I had sold a truck, I had sold a motorcycle. What I had taken $1,000 out of my credit union. That was to buy Christmas gifts. And my gambling mind said, let's go down to the casino and you can double that money. Well, I started gambling. I gambled for a long time, over 20 hours. I didn't eat. I didn't get up to go to the bathroom to relieve myself. I didn't take my blood pressure medication. I didn't even get up to go take a drink of water because I had a machine that I thought was, I just put a lot of money in, and the thinking was, well, it's going to get hot any minute. Never did, but that was my thinking. And so I tried to stand up just to stretch my legs, and I got dizzy, fell on the floor, and I didn't know if I'd had a heart attack or what. They come take my blood pressure, and it was just out of sight. And while I'm laying on the floor, I got to tell you, when you're laying on the floor in a casino and people are stepping over you, that's very embarrassing. But worse than that, a guy sat at my machine and started playing the credits that I had earned on the machine. See, nothing was important. My entire life revolved around gambling. And then Karen's life revolved around me, trying to get me to come to my senses. And that was the pathology. It was like a weird planetary system. But the center of that universe for me was gambling. But I was a jerk when I was practicing my gambling. I would pick fights. You know, there's no way to win against a gambling addict. If I come home, supper's not ready, why ain't supper ready? I'll just eat down at the casino, bye. Supper's ready, I ain't gonna eat this crap, I'm gonna eat something good down at the casino. You know, so part of my, the psychology of it is to make the other person feel like they made you go gambling. And so that makes them feel guilty and justifies my going. My mind has changed. I got where I could rationalize anything. I could intellectualize anything. So I didn't worry too much about hurting people. It was a matter of saying, well, I'm going to do what I want to do. I came out of the casino and I didn't have a cent on me. I had gas in the car. And I can't tell you how many times I had come out, but for that particular night, it was just, I had a realization that, boy, I have really, really destroyed my life. Everything I worked for. I had decided I was going to shoot myself that night. I always carried a .357 Magnum in the glove compartment, always had it locked. Turned the key and put my hand in there, couldn't feel nothing. I bent over and I looked, there was nothing in there. I thought, where's my gun? What happened to it? And doggone me, Karen probably took it out because she figured I might be trying to hurt myself. So I drove pretty fast to Mobile, and I woke Karen up when I got in, and I told her, I said, thank you. Oh, you saved my life. You saved my life. You took the gun out. And related to her what had happened. And she told me, she said, Johnny, I didn't take the gun out to save your life. I took the gun out to pay the electric bill so they wouldn't turn our lights on. When I say I'm wrong, I imply a moral judgment. You know, it's like if you show up late, you can say, I'm sorry. But, you know, you're not necessarily wrong. But no, most of the time I told Karen I was wrong. But, you know, my main thing was my wife. That was my main person, you know, that I had to make amends to.
Is there someone in your past that you have hurt and you don't know what to do about it? Are you carrying that guilt and shame around in you and you don't know how to deal with it because you don't feel like you have the courage to go to them? Well, it's important that we make things right. When Jesus was here on earth, there was a guy that wanted to see Jesus. And that's what we want. We want to see God. We want to know Him personally, individually, privately, intimately. And this man's name was Zacchaeus, and he wanted to see Him. He was a short man in stature, so he found out where Jesus was coming, went and got up a tree and waited there, and so he could see Him. The crowds were so big, and you know he couldn't see over their heads, so he did whatever he had to do. When Jesus got to where Zacchaeus was, up a tree, he stopped and said, Zacchaeus, come down, today I'm going to your house. There's a couple of things there I want to point out. One is, I don't know what tree you may be up, what kind of situation your life may be in because of what you've done or haven't done, but God knows what tree you're up. He knows right where we are. He called him to come down. He wants us to come down and humble ourselves. And as soon as Zacchaeus came down, Jesus said, I'm going to your house today. And Zacchaeus said, everybody I have wronged, everybody I've cheated, I'm going to pay them back. And I'll do it 4 times. I'm going to give half of what I have to the poor. And those that I've crooked, I'm going to pay them back 4 times what I've taken from them. And Jesus said, today salvation has come to your house. It's important that we make amends to those we have harmed. It's not an easy thing to do. And it really doesn't matter whether they accept our amends or not. I know in my life when I began to work this biblical principle, not just hear it, but do it. It's not those that hear what Jesus says, but those that do what He says that's going to be standing when the new day dawns. So I went to make amends. One of the first amends I made, well, the first one I made was to my wife. I made amends to my children. And then I went to the next person that was closest to me, I thought, to make amends for the wrong I had done. And when I went to make amends, this person that was supposed to have been a spirit-filled Kristen turned into a demonic-looking figure and began to call me every kind of name there was. And it was like, oh my God. But you know what? It doesn't matter whether they accept it or not. The important thing is clean your house. Do the right thing. Because if you'll clean house and trust God, you'll know the joys of living happy, joyous, and free. It's important we make amends to those we have harmed.
What we're going to deal with today is not preparing, but actually going about and making amends and restitution to those that we have harmed. And you talk about a big deal. This is a big deal because we have expectations when we do that. You know, we expect them to be as happy about us as we are. Ain't gonna happen. And a lot of times they're ticked off because we were medicating ourselves. They were still in pain. Well, how are we going to handle that, and how do we go about our approach to them?
Let me say, in the instance of me and my daughter, I had to be very open with her. I didn't hide anything from her. I explained my addiction to her. Some of it she had been exposed to, some she hadn't. But I didn't take anything for granted. And I went to her and I had to ask for her forgiveness, specifically for what I knew that I did. And I gave her the opportunity to share what I didn't know. And I let her tell me what areas I had hurt her in. And it was hard because I'm her mother. She wanted to please me. And, you know, she had begun an enabling relationship where she covered and protected me too. So when I brought that to her, she said, okay, Mom, I forgave you. But I had to understand that it was going to be an ongoing process, and that every now and then, as part of the healing process, that anger rears its ugly head. And I can tell when she's reacting toward me based on something I've done in the past. And she's 11 years old, and at her age, I will say, okay, Sydney, you know, I've asked your forgiveness specifically for this, and you've said you've accepted it. Now we can deal with one issue at a time so that we're not clouding it with what's going on in my past. I also have to understand that I had over a year of counseling, and she didn't. That I am her counselor, that I am. So ongoing forgiveness from her, forgiveness from her is going to be ongoing, and I have to accept that, and sometimes it hurts. I can see her reacting. I really can see her reacting, but I have to take the brunt of responsibility for that. That's my child, you know, but it's a work in progress. It is with her.
That's kind of an important issue, Tiny, earning their trust. How do you do that?
Well, first of all, you have to be disciplined, and through the help of God, you can earn their trust back. When you tell a person you clean and you offer alcohol, you offer drugs, they're going to say, yeah, right. The first bad situation that happened, they're going to run right back out there. And so they're watching you for a while, and they're watching you, and they're waiting. When I joined my church, you know, and everyone found out I was from Teen Challenge, they were watching me. They were like, yeah, he's from Teen Challenge. We're here. He'll be going back to the streets sooner or later. And they were watching me. Then next thing you know, 10 years went by. And they were watching me. Then they realized, hey, that young man in it for real. He accepted Jesus Christ in his heart. And I had apologized to the people I have done wrong to. And I had told them I was sorry. But see, you have to still win the people's trust. And even though I've been there now 15 years, guess what? They still watching me.
Yes.
Well, for me, the most important aspect of this step is that it was perhaps my first true measure of how God could act in my life. And it was with a fair degree of intrepidation that I set out on making a number of my amends, because I expected bad things. And what was necessary for me was to talk to someone else who knew the situation, knew me, could help me with my motives, and then to talk to God and make a right place in my heart from which to come. And the methodology that I used was fairly formal, but it followed exactly what Dallas and Ann have talked about. You know, not saying I'm sorry, but admitting that I'd done wrong, and giving them an ample opportunity to tell me how wrong it was and how I'd hurt them. And then being willing to make an amends. And, you know, if that meant paying back money, if that meant doing whatever, my expression of willingness was, how can I make it right?
Someone has said in asking for forgiveness and putting yourself in a vulnerable position, that it's best not to write it out because, first of all, you want the past forgiven, not documented.
Yes.
And, you know, we inflict, or we actually stir up sometimes pain in our making amends. And let's not give people instruments of cruelty.
Yeah.
So if you are making amends, and if you have amends to make, unconditionally love them and take it.
I met Russ in high school. I was about 15, and we hung around with a lot of the kids who did all the partying.
And we seemed to fit very well with each other. We got along real well. We just kind of hit it off.
Actually, I picked up the partying from him. I never really, you know, did drugs or anything until I met him. So we dated, and then we got married, and had our children. We had our 2 boys, and his drug started getting a little bit worse. I started cheerleading for the Bills, and I started drinking then.
But it wasn't uncommon that we would drink a liter of whiskey before we would go out 5-6 nights a week. Still smoke marijuana, cocaine, LSD. Pretty much anything I could get my hands on, I did.
It got to a point where we started drifting apart from each other. So I started going out with my friends, started going out drinking, started sleeping around. He would actually stay home and watch the kids while I would go out on dates. I was addicted to sex, and I was addicted to drinking. I was also addicted to lying.
And you wake up someplace you don't know how you got there, and you laugh it off, you know. Well, I'll never do that again, and then you find yourself doing that again, and then you're waking up next to your bed because you couldn't get in your bed, and then you're waking up in the kitchen because you couldn't make it to the bedroom, and then you're waking up on your front porch because you couldn't get off the front porch to get into the house.
Then I met someone else, lived about maybe 5-6 houses down the street or something. He was a fireman, he was a real nice guy, and decided to go move in with them, so I took my kids, went down the street, moved in with them. And about a year later, we decided to get married. So I finally divorced my husband, got married. And then for the next 6 years of my life, I was married then for 6 years, and it was rough. A lot of mental abuse.
After a long, messy falling out, we got divorced. And at that point, for me, not having the accountability, having kids to go home to, I hit rock bottom. You know, there were no boundaries for me. I just did whatever I wanted to do.
I left my second husband, went to a shelter for battered women, thought of killing myself, and thank God I didn't. The next day, a friend of mine had introduced me to Jesus. And from that day forward, my whole life had changed. You know, I didn't drink anymore. And a year later, actually, Russ ended up getting saved.
And at that point, I was delivered from cigarettes, I was delivered from alcohol, I was delivered from drugs. It was, I was in such a stir for the next couple of days, I didn't even realize it. I drove around in my car, I made amends with people that I had offended, people that I thought I could never talk to again. I called them and I cried and I apologized.
And a year after that, as we actually got back together again and reunited.
We invited some friends over, some close friends that we had known for 15, 18 years together, and family, and we invited them to her father's house for dessert for Thanksgiving dinner. We didn't tell anybody we were getting married. Nobody knew,
yeah.
Except for, you know, the people directly involved. And So everybody came over after dinner and we were waiting for dessert.
And dessert was our wedding.
We got married.
We got married.
And it was incredible.
By the glory of God, yeah.
Well, we've watched and heard some people that have opened their hearts and have reached the place that they were willing to admit they had been wrong. It's not an easy thing to do, but if you're painstaking about this part of your development, you will come to know a joy and a freedom and a peace that you've never experienced. You will know how to handle situations that used to baffle you. You will comprehend the word serenity, and you will know peace. And no matter how far down the scale you've gone, you will see how your experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity, it will slip away. You will be changed if you'll make right the wrongs. It's not easy, but it's worth the price. So I just pray today that God will give you the courage and the strength to go to those that you have wronged and admit it. It doesn't matter what they say or think. It's what you're doing. That's what pleases God. And He wants you to be free. That's why you were born, to be free.
Have you been inspired to start your journey to recovery? Please call our toll-free number, 888-665-4483, and our prayer partners can help you find a group in your area. Or you can visit our website at www.ctvn.org and click on the Born to Be Free link. There you can search our online database of recovery groups near you. When you call or visit our website, request your free copy of the self-help booklet, Your Dynamic Journey to Freedom. In it, you'll find an outline of the recovery process featured in this series. So take that first step on your journey to freedom by contacting us, finding a local recovery group, and getting your free copy of this inspiring booklet. Call now, because you were born to be free.
I still desire to look good, and I still appreciate the attention of other people, and I have to continually lay that down and continually remember that that is not a goal that I need to have in my life.
You're going to have some bad nights where you just go binge again, and don't beat yourself up about it. Just, live it and just get over it and try to do better the next night. And I'd say every year it's better. Every 6 months it's probably better, but it's a healing process for me. And
reconciliation you live out every day. Every day I tell my wife how much I appreciate her and how much she means to me. And that's the gift of reconciliation.
Restores love, restores trust. Reconciliation is the whole package.